Okay, everybody. Hey, it's Wednesday, March 11th, 2015. My name is Dan Boole. I'm president of 65 Amps. I'm coming to you from Tone Merchants in North Hollywood, California. And today, we're just having a nice little intimate chat. I got a lot of emails from people saying, man, I missed the shows where it was just you and we could all just sit and talk and have more of a round table. So I thought I'd do that today. And I played with the lights. Hopefully it looks a little better. It's always an ongoing process, just like coating guitar strings. They get better every year. So anyway, I'm saying so a lot. Let's get on with it. I think, let me get the 65 business out of the way first. Little whiskey and the mildly changed version of the whiskey are finished. We're waiting on boards right now. So chassis are in. We'll see them soon in stores. I know I got a lot of guys saying, hey man, you showed it at NAMM and why can't we buy one? Well, we're being a little slow this year. I apologize, but we'll do it. Nothing you don't already have, Phil. Why is there no reverb pedals that sound good? You should make a reverb tank, Dan. Ask Norskant from Kristiansand, Norway. We'll just jump right into questions. Well, I have made a reverb tank before. And it was just, I'd have to charge like $900 for it, for it to be worth it to make. Retail. You know, I have to sell it to a dealer, and I have to make money when I sell it to the dealer. Otherwise, I'm an idiot. And then he has to make some money when he sells it to you. Otherwise, he's an idiot. Sitting in bankruptcy court going, I don't know, Your Honor. I don't know why I can't pay all my debts and I can't pay all my bills. People don't want to pay for stuff, so I gave it away. Just doesn't work that way, unfortunately. I wish it did. Let me see if I can get this just a hair closer. I feel like I can't. There we go. Get a little closer. Yeah. My favorite, I actually like the Strymon pedals a lot as far as Verb goes, but I'm not much of a Verb guy. Yeah, I mean, I've heard the TCs sound really nice. I've heard people use those. They sound really good. I like the old Electro-Harmonix Holy Grail pedal. Willie says the Blue Sky and Wet sound. Yeah. Well, why? This is a great question. Like the Z-Verb sounds great. Just why you can't get a pedal for $300? Well, things cost money to make. There's no way around it, really. Unless you go for China. Even then, they're not that cheap to make. You know, like for me to put it in an amp or to make a standalone one is even more expensive. But just to put it in an amp, you know, I have to get a reverb transformer. I have to add another tube and all the reverb circuitry. You know, the dwell and all that stuff. And it adds up. I have to raise the price on the amp about $400. And I'm not sure that's going to sound better than a Strymon for $299. You know, it's, Norskant says, yeah, I had both the Hall of Fame and the Blue Sky. Nothing beats the Fender Verb. You make a better amp than Fender. Thanks. I appreciate that. So I'm guessing you would make better. Yeah, our reverb tank sounded incredible. I have the prototype. So we have a new user on the chat room now. His name is Kanye motherfucking West. And he says, hey, I hear you've been chatting jive about me, man. Why, yes, I have, Kanye, and take it with a grain of salt. Robin Thicke's going to be on next. Well, why don't we get into that, the whole blurred line things, because there's a lot of people just freaking out about this case, and it doesn't really mean anything. alleviate your fears. I'm telling you, calm down right now. It's not a big deal. So a lot of people are under the impression that you can only copyright a melody, that riffs and chord progressions and things like that are not copyrightable, which is sometimes true and sometimes not true. Where it becomes true, let me grab a guitar. I'll just play one acoustically here. So a riff is not copyrightable, right? However, oops, that was a good noise for you guys, I'm sure. A riff is copyrightable if it's unique and identifiable. For example, you can't copyright going, right? Hey, Hoss, you made it. However, there's songs that are just riffs, and they're the identifier of the song. So if I sit and go, right? You know what song that is. So that's the identifier of the song. So as a general rule, riffs aren't copyrightable. Day Tripper is not a melody. The melody only counts as the vocals. So for a rhythmic figure, or a riff, as musicians call them, a rhythmic figure itself is not copyrightable unless it is so identifiable to the song that that's what you know the song for. So, you know, someone mentioned Zeppelin. That's a riff. You know that song. Chord progressions can be copyrighted if they're unique. Like, all right, what is that? How's that? I haven't played that in so long because it's embarrassing. When you hear that, 9 out of 10 people are going to think that's Stairway to Heaven. So in certain instances, the rhythm, the groove, etc., are copyrightable if they are so unique that they identify the song. Now, in the case of this song, the Marvin Gaye tune, that's a very complicated rhythm going on in there. Try to play it. Just go down and watch the breakdown. There's been all these YouTube comparisons and stuff. Break it down. And it's what identifies that song, especially when you get in the genre of dance music and rhythm and blues music, right? Soul, funk, blah, 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 blah. It's identifiable. Oh, Pharrell's here. Pharrell says lies. Damn it, I got Kanye West and Pharrell Williams here. Well, Pharrell, I'm a big fan. Kanye, I'm not. I'm sorry. Pharrell, I'm a big fan of yours. And from what I understand from behind the scenes talk, you were actually a gentleman about it. Now, here's the other thing you got to understand. Pharrell Williams and Robin Thicke had nothing to do with stealing the song. What you say, Dan? How is that possible? Those are two guys in a studio making a record. When they go, when you go make a record, it's up to the record label and their legal team to clear everything. Because you can record anybody's song. You don't have to have permission to record anybody's song. So no one's ever stealing a song. Legally, I can record anybody's song that I want to. I can't use their recording of the song without their permission. No, Phil, I can record anybody's song. Doesn't matter if it's been released or not. But what you have to do is pay. What you're talking about for release is if I want to use their recording of the song. You can do it. You just have to pay. Now, I just got your email there, John. The person that owns the song, yeah, John Paul Jones heard Stairway from somewhere, but that's identifiable as their music now. The person who makes the agreement with you can charge you an exorbitant amount to play their song, and you can disagree with it. And if you don't agree with their terms, then you can't release it. But no song is sacred. You can record any song you want. Yeah, I'll talk about intent. And there's some key indicators on this case about intent. But anyway, back to the point, especially with dance music, soul music, funk music, disco music, blah, 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 blah. The rhythm is often the identifier of the song. I mean, you can do that with rock songs. Take, for example, the beat to Walk This Way. Stop it, Elliott guitars. Boom, ga, boom, boom, ga, boom, ga, boom, boom, ga. Most people are going to think that's Walk This Way, right? It's just a beat. Now, most beats in rock songs are boom, ga, boom, boom, ga, boom, ga. Too common, too average, etc. Yeah, and KXM Rock brings up a great point. No, it's DMC. Run DMC had to pay Aerosmith to do that. And it was just a beat, right? So anyway, the point is Robin Thicke, apparently from his testimony, was popping pills and drinking the whole time, didn't know his ass from his elbow. And he's an idiot anyway. Married to a beautiful, beautiful woman, and Noel's cheering for pills. All right. Robin Thicke is the other guy in this lawsuit that's so big over here in the U.S., North Scott. The song Blurred Lines from last year. He recorded it with Pharrell Williams. And there's a big lawsuit because the rhythm of it and the structure of it was just lifted out of a Marvin Gaye song from 40 odd years ago. We do like to sue each other. And anyway, so, oh shit, where was I? Anyway, with dance music, the rhythm is it. So, and if it's unique and identifiable, if it's not unique and identifiable, then it's just a beat. Who cares, right? So everyone who's walking around Chicken Littling it going, oh my God, I can never write a song now because it's going to be similar to something. No, that's not it. That's complete Chicken Little reaction. So that's not what's happening here. If you listen to the Marvin Gaye song, that's a very complex layered rhythm that's in there. Listen to it and try to do it yourself. As most of us being white rock and rollers, we're not going to be able to do it. I mean, I'm just being real. Rock and roll guys don't do rhythms like that, right? This is a very complex, sophisticated rhythm done by really, really great players. And they kind of just nailed it. You know, even Pharrell in his testimony, when he played the rhythm track from the Marvin Gaye song and the rhythm track from Blurred Lines, in his testimony, he said, it does sound like you're playing the same thing. Okay. Anyway. So the point I was making is that Pharrell and Robin Thicke didn't have anything to do with that. They made a record. It was up to their record label to do things in the gentlemanly way. So now Phil, Itchy Brother here, has been talking about intent. So here's what these guys did. No, you can have it, Fire Bottle. I'm in a band with Howard called Buddy Deuce and the Benevolent Honkies. Well, when you're in popular music, there's going to be a lot of overlap, songs overlap, and the courts know that. They're not like, hey, your song is a 1-4-5 in G. You ripped off Chuck Berry. I know. You know, he didn't. So, yeah, I'm one of the Benevolent Honkies. I'm also in a black Beatles tribute band where I'm the only honky. It's called the Clarences. Remember Clarence, Eddie Murphy on Saturday Night Live? He was the black dude that got kicked out of the Beatles. Yeah, that's what Brian Mendes. And it's a Beatles tribute band. And I'm the token honky. I bring like a jar of mayonnaise. And we have background singers that are white girls instead of like all rock bands have background singers that are black girls. And the background singers, their names are like Summer and Amber, Ashley, you know, real good country club white girl names. So anyway, back to the point. I'm sorry, I'm straying here. So forget about blaming Pharrell Williams. He's not a thief, nor is he not a thief. He's just a guy who made a record. It's a record company. So let's talk about intent, right? And Itchy Brother keeps bringing that up. So for me, the thing that was a real giveaway on this whole deal was that before the record was released, Pharrell's label sued the Gay family for an injunction to not sue them about this song before it was released. Now, that doesn't make any sense on the surface. Yes, Randy. Yeah, we're having a little songwriters discussion. So what happened is whatever label those guys are on, I can't remember now. Not the whole Gay family, but Marvin's descendants who own the rights to his music. They're just known as the Gay family. That's Gaye. They sued them before the record was released in order to stop them from suing them when the record came out. What does that tell you? I know exactly what it tells you. Some lawyer or some accountant, some MBA sat around and said, you know what? Let's sue them first. And here's what will happen. They'll say, no, we're not going to agree to this. And we'll say, okay, we understand. We're going to offer you a generous cash settlement of $200,000. Now, Marvin Gaye's estate is known for being kind of broke, unfortunately. So he said, we'll fool these people. We'll write them a check for a couple $100,000. We'll get the rights to the song, and we'll go off and make $10 million on the record. That, my friends, is predatory bullshit. They're preying on people who they mistakenly believed would lay down, would roll over. And they didn't. So, regardless of how much it overlaps with the song or how much it doesn't overlap with the song, I personally think it does, because it's a rhythm and blues. It's a soul song. That's all about rhythm. And the rhythm is what they took, right? But they knew it was going to be a problem. And they went to the trouble of hiring lawyers and paying lawyers a lot of money to sue the Gay family for an injunction against them suing. You see what I'm getting at there, right? So the record company knew something was going to happen. So anyway, the song made, apparently, from what I understand, $16.3 million. And they had to pay the gay family roughly half, which is fair. That's probably what they would have had to pay anyway, had they just went to them and said, we want to do a song that's based on this Marvin Gaye tune. But in their mind, it was a gamble. They might just say yes to the couple $100,000, and then we get to keep the whole $16 million. But if they still say no and we lose, we still make $8 million on the song. Now, I'll record a song every day, lose in court, and make $8 million on it. Think about it as a business person. What's missing from that whole equation is respect. They disrespected songwriters. They disrespected Marvin's family. They disrespected our industry. You know, and songwriters are not incentivized right now to do much. I mean, look at the crap that's mainstream. It's arguably the lowest common denominator, simple shit. The state of songwriting right now is at such a low point that grown people in the music business look to me and say, Taylor Swift is a good songwriter. I'm like, really? Like you'd compare her with Freddie Mercury or Elton John or John Lennon? Like, really? Seriously? When she's got a song that goes na 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 for 32 fucking bars before it changes. That's not songwriting. That's nursery rhymes. Yeah, she wrote another 1564 about a guy that dumped her. It's not a bad song for a kid. It's not bad, but it's not what you would go, wow, that's good songwriting. It's like, okay, it's a radio song. It's fine. But people are looking up to her for songwriting right now. So you get my point, right? Voice and Heart. Who's that? I don't think it's a reflection of the general population. Kid Gloves 2112 says it's a reflection of the general population. I don't think that's true. I think people are happy to have good music, right? And I think it's just the state of the music business where we buy our songs for 99 cents and we can stream them for free. There's no money in it. So the people that are good at this, don't give a damn anymore. If you can't put out a song that's an instant hit, the record company abandons you. I don't think all Hoss Thompson says Taylor Swift ain't Carole King for sure. Now, I'm not putting down Taylor Swift. I mean, I'm sure she's a nice girl. And she's doing what she enjoys, and people enjoy that. That's fine. And my thing fell apart here. Sorry, I'm messing with it. I'm just saying that's not a high point there. That's not what you would call the zenith of songwriting. That's not what you would call progression from stuff that was going on 40 years ago, 50 years ago. I think I just killed my battery. But you get my point, right? So between Spotify, iTunes, iTunes takes 66 cents on the dollar. For people that are putting music on there. Dr. Noel says, it goes in cycles. It will humanize again in its own way. The business is just highly evolved commerce selling product. The music is secondary. Seen any good movies lately? Yeah, that is true. But man, you know, we've been in a trough for a long time. And something's got to change. You know, one of the things I'm working with NMB Live is figuring out ways to incentivize songwriters. So we're going to have a streaming service on there, which if any of you guys want to put your music up there, you can do it right now. It actually works. If you want to put your music on NMB Live right now, you can sell it on there and via PayPal, and NMB Live only takes 15%. Let me say that again. NMB Live only takes 15% versus 66%, which is what Apple takes on iTunes. Well, as long as there's no money in songwriting, you're not going to see music change. The money is in making shit, you know. I'm sorry, I got to fix my thing here because I'm a junkie. It's embarrassing. I know. I dropped it on the floor and it's leaking and I have to fix it. But there has to be money in the game for it, right? So even the record labels aren't making money on this. Now, a song like Blurred Lines, which was a mega hit, an anomaly. Jim Buckley says, Dead Sarah restores faith in modern rock on 331. But yeah, Dead Sarah's amazing. That's a perfect example of a great rock and roll band that isn't getting traction from the labels because they don't have instant success. Well, so if any of you guys write music and want to sell it on NMB Live, you can sell it for whatever you want, and you get to keep 80% of it or 85% of it. The 15% just kind of covers the overhead of managing it. Oh, there's a million great songwriters around Norse Cant. Norse Cant gives a list of people who he likes here. Yeah, Phil's bringing up the development deal. That's what I had, which turned into a recording contract. They don't do that anymore because if you can't upload your song and get a hit within a couple of weeks, record companies don't want to have anything to do with you. So, you know, it's a tough situation. But my humble opinion is that songwriters are not incentivized to write good songs now. There's a bunch of great songwriters, a bunch of great rock and roll bands, all that stuff. I don't know about the CD Baby thing. Yeah, I mean, every era had some really great artists. Like, people diss the 70s, and like, there's some pretty good stuff in the 70s. You also have to make sure you don't fall victim to everything was better in the past mentality, because you only remember the good things from the past. You don't remember the bad things. So while Bohemian Rhapsody was on the charts, so was Muskrat Love. By the Captain and Tennille. So was You Make Me Feel Like Dancing by Leo Sayer. You know, and if you look at the top 40 charts any week, like the week the Beatles had the top 5 or the top 40, half of those other songs were complete and utter shit. Muskrat Love, though, was a pretty sweet tune. But you get my point, like, to say, well, music now blows. Because if you look on the charts right now, there's like 3 good songs, and it's always kind of been like that. Jim Buckley brings up a point too, that one corporation owns all the rock stations in one market. Yeah. There's all that stuff. It's just so, again, the songwriters are not incentivized to write anything that's good. So NMB Live is going to try to change that. That's part of the reason I went to start working with these guys. GHS Strings asks a good question. How would you say radio services like Sirius and XM Radio do in terms of introducing new bands and songwriters? I think they do a great job. They just have a small audience. Anything that costs money to listen to has a small audience. So the premise of Sirius and XM is they're ad-free, but the compromise there is that you're going to have 1/10 the audience of broadcast radio or less. Clear Channel is a problem. It's a very uptight industry. They like to make real easy money off really, really simple songs. So if you or any artists you work with or any bands that you're working with, if you want to put your money on NMB Live, then, which is funny, it's saying Namubu today, and the old name. That's weird. Anyway, if you want to put your stuff on NMB Live, then I haven't got my tea yet, Haas. Are there any radio stations worth listening to in LA Orange County area? Serious question. None of them are great. There's DJs on respective stations that are good. Who's the guy? Uncle Joe Benson. He's now on 100.3, I think. He was on 95.5, I think, forever. KCRW does okay for their live stuff. KC95 in St. Louis still plays all the same stuff. Yeah, they're still playing Journey and AC/DC and Led Zeppelin. Same 28 songs have been playing since 1979. KNAC, KMET. Yeah, every station here, they're not bad. They're just not good all day long. Like, you know, there's certain DJs on those things that I think are cool, but did you send it to the shop in Huntington Park, or did you send it to the address that I gave you, Haas? Will NMB help with copywriting, trademarking, and merch for those musicians that are just musicians? No, we can't do it for you, but there are guys on here that will. We can hook you up with people that'll do it for you. It might be something you want to learn to do. It's not very hard. So, but there are people on here. I mean, this is the community, so you can do that. That makes sense. GHS String says, as a freelance basis myself, there is no such thing as just a musician anymore. Yeah, it's pretty tough, man. You know, you can register all your intellectual property very easily online now. You don't have to get a lawyer and go down to a courthouse and all that stuff. Yeah, I sent you the address, Haas. It's okay if it went down to the shop in Huntington Park. I can get it. Norse Cat says you can't just be a musician anymore, just like you just can't be a guitar player. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's your intellectual property, and you have to protect it. And you can do it online just like nothing now. It's fine. But one of the things you can do really easy is just put trademark or copyright everywhere you publish it with a date on it. So at least you can say, I released this on this date, and they released it afterwards. And that holds up in court a lot of times. It actually holds up fine. So, you know, there's ways to do it. Hojo says, I applaud these kids today. They are in the music business. Yeah. My hair isn't nearly as looking. Oh, God, the hair. Spending some time being a musician, small business owner. Since my playing is my product. Yeah, you got to protect it. You know, if you open up a store with a name, you'd register it. You know, you can register. If you just Google how to register your own music, it's not very hard. Jax is getting his whiskey tomorrow. Oh, and our engineer producer loved the Tupelo and color boost. Nice. He freaked out when I goosed the channel volume and turned the smooth switch. Nice. Man, there's a lot of, I got the hiccup. Sorry. There's a lot of sounds in that amp. A lot of sounds. North Cat says, I stopped trying to be just a musician. Went back to university, going to be a teacher, still teach guitar. Oh, that's good. Very good. Well, guys, I got to keep it kind of short today. My wife is out of town, and I have to go pick up my kids from school. But I thought it was fun to talk about that. You guys have any other questions or thoughts about it? You think I'm out? I think I'm off base? Reverend Randy says, I'm a musician, writer, author, pastor, performer. It's called life. Anyway, so the big thing that made me want to that's okay, Haas. I'll get it down there. I'm going down there this week. So, will anything come of the stairway suit? I don't know. I don't know the details of it. But I just kind of want to just quelch all these people going, oh my God, no, I can never write a song again. This is unfair. It's not the case. You're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. Write whatever you want. You're going to have to, any song, let me put it another way. So when I used to work for a law firm in Century City called Fishback, Pearlstein, Lieberman, and Yanny. It was 3 Irish guys. And, hi, Dave Keene. We're just getting ready to quit. Every song that gets any traction at all, someone's going to sue you for it. So, because any pop song has 4 or 5 chords and it has a melody that's pretty much within the major scale with a flat 7 and a flat 3 thrown in. So technically you can write any song, and me as someone who has extensive music theory training, I can point out to you how that's just like another song. And then every record company has literally had 1 million submissions that they haven't listened to. And so some guy is going to say, I submitted a song really, really similar to that 7 years ago. And that's just like it. And you know what? He's probably right. But no one copied it. So it's not like inventing the microprocessor and getting intellectual property on it. The intellectual property is not that tight. What you have to do is prove intent, like Phil mentioned earlier. And, market confusion is a term they'll use a lot in that field of law. It causes market confusion. So if you hear one song, you think it's another song. So when in fact, a lot of people did hear the Blurred Lines song and think for a minute it was Marvin Gaye. But Pharrell and Robin Thicke got all the money. We're all musicians here. We're all pretty savvy. The general public is not that savvy. So it's up to the jury and the judge to decide how far along that scale of mix-up is there. And it's usually a lot more complicated than what you read in a 4-paragraph news story. So, most people know what they're doing. Can you go over what NMB's goal is again, just distribution? Well, there's many goals, one of which is to do what I'm doing now, to allow people to broadcast directly and interact with people. A lot of songwriters, singers, producers, engineers, manufacturers like myself can really forward their goals by being able to interact directly with human beings. Making videos are really nice, but it's a one-way conversation, right? We're having a two-way conversation. Granted, I have control over the conversation, but it's still a two-way conversation. And then one of the things they want to do is a music streaming service, which is it's a startup website. It's nowhere near finished yet, so don't judge it yet. Just look around and see what you think. But you can upload your music and sell it here for whatever price you want. You can sell songs for 25 cents if you want to. And if you have a lot of Facebook friends or whatever, they can come over here and buy it. And you get to keep most of the money. And we're actually talking to a lot of big bands now that are thinking about moving their music over because the pay split is so different. You put a song on iTunes, it goes into this huge morass of 10 million artists. And the only thing that shows up on people's feeds are the top selling ones or the ones that have been paid promotions. So most people I know here that are songwriters have a hard time selling anything on iTunes because they're just lost in the quicksand that is iTunes. So if they do sell some songs, they don't get much money out of it. They get 1/3. So if he sells 100 songs, he gets $35, right? That would be more ass. Yes, Northcott correctly mentions Lars Harvard Haugen. Lars Hovard. It's a new solo. Everybody should check him out. Phil's asking, do you have to have physical copies or downloadable stuff? No, you just upload the music any way you want to NMB. And then you can sell it on there. Well, fellas, I have to call it. Unfortunately, I have domestic duty that's keeping it down to an hour today. I apologize. But I'll be back next week. And we can talk about this some more if you like. I mean, one of the guys that I used to work for was a guy named Michael Perlstein, who was, besides a really great guy and gentleman and brilliant person, he was the guy that represented George Harrison in the My Sweet Lord case. And for all the bad press that case got, Michael told me that at one point Harrison turned to him and said, I was doing a lot of acid and I wasn't paying attention, and this song was on the radio all the time. I lifted it. I didn't do it consciously. I lifted it. So let's pay the people. That's how it got settled. Was Harrison. And I think Pharrell did a similar thing on this. He kind of admitted in court, yeah, it sounds like the same thing. So I don't think anybody had any bad intent. Where they messed up was not playing by the rules. And And again, it's not them, it's the record label. I don't think he sat down with Robin Thicke, who has the IQ of a box of rocks, and said, hey man, let's rip off Marvin Gaye. Let's see if we can fuck the Gaye family. I don't think he did that. I think that's just silly. Pharrell's really well known in this town for being a really cool guy and being a really smart guy. And he's a gentleman and stupidly talented, but he's an artist who lives in a bubble. So it's not up to him to do that. It's his record label's business. That's what he pays them for. So he can be an artist and just make music that he likes. Don't grow up, kid gloves. Why? Anyway, I do have to go. Thank you guys so much. Call Rob Taylor when you get back. Yeah, seriously, about the music thing, we're just getting that going. So you can sell your music. It's going to be a downloading service. And you get to keep the money. Think about all these big bands that didn't go on iTunes for years because they couldn't stand the split. If this was around 10 years ago, they could keep all their money. Apple makes 66 cents on the dollar. Anyway, that's it. Okay, guys, it's been a real pleasure. I'm glad we got to have an intimate talk. It's been a while. Let me know if you want to do some more of these. We'll do it more often. I kind of like it. I kind of miss it too, to be honest. Fire Bottle, when might Chicago Music Exchange get the little whiskey? Next month is what it looks like we're shipping everything out. Sorry for the delay. We had some production issues I had to redo the chassis. Anyway, gotta run, folks. We'll talk about the little whiskey next week. All right. Take care, and thank you again for hanging out with me. See you soon.